Today on This Week in Startup, Cyrus Massoumi is here. He is the CEO and founder of ZocDoc, who Tyler will tell you was part of the class of TC40, the first TechCrunch 40.
Year.
May it rest in peace, TechCrunch 40. Long live launch. And Cyrus is going to be here telling us about ZocDoc and their amazing ascension. They are crushing it. Also, Tyler, I hear you have an insight. Or two. Today on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Interesting stuff going on. I'm just reading tech meme on my iPad. Always good. How are you doing, Tyler?
Good.
So today it's going to be a great full circle. We're at episode number 145. This was a pre-taped episode, which only the producers of the show... I'm starting to turn into Donald Trump. Nobody could get this done, and I got the birth certificate. Yeah, you got the birth certificate, and Obama got the most wanted man on the planet. Anyway, this show is pre-taped. If you are a member of the producer, executive producer, associate producer, or supporter team on TWiST.co, you can see the pre-taped episodes live and ask questions and be part of the inner circle. Also, you can be part of the inner circle email list. Boy, is that going great! You're on the email and you're watching, but you haven't really participated in the emails yet.
I'm a reader.
You're a reader.
I'm the same way at cocktail parties. I show up, I just listen.
Yeah, man of mystery.
Yes.
That's everybody's always like, who's that guy who was always with Jason for years, and now they know, hey, that's the CEO of Squeal. Taking notes. So anyway, it's rapidly growing. I really do appreciate the support, but I'm not going to get into it all that much because there's something more important I need to talk about right now, which is Trada. Oh my God, Trada, thank you for sponsoring This Week In, one of our biggest supporters for a long time. Go ahead and sign up for Trada and let them solve all of your pay-per-click SEM marketing campaigns. I bet you ZocDoc, we'll talk to them in a minute. I'm sure they're doing PPC, SEM stuff. And let me tell you, SEM is hard but effective. That's why Google is the most powerful company on the planet with the most earnings and all this other stuff going. Well, maybe I don't know if they have the most earnings, but anyway, maybe Apple does. But you know, Google's in the top couple, and the reason Google is such a juggernaut is because those pay-per-click ads, they work. They're driving a lot of commerce. They can work for your startup or small business or your mom's small business or your cousin's. If you want to get a funnel going, there's only like 3 ways to get traffic to your site. One is through SEO. Heck, good luck with that with the Panda update. Let me tell you, I got some scars. Number 2 is you could do social optimization. We're doing a little bit of that, and having a good Twitter account, Facebook. Sure, those are 2 great things. But the third that you're probably not considering for your startup, and if you have an SEM business, a software as a service business, this could really come in handy. If you can figure out how to buy that traffic for a lower price than the lifetime value of your customer, guess what? That's unlimited revenue growth. And that's what Trada will let you have, is unlimited revenue growth by buying the right keywords. What keywords do you buy? What copy do you put in that text? You don't have time to figure that out. I don't have time to figure that out. They figure that out for you. And that's the art, that's the science, that is the alchemy, art plus science of SEM. And to do SEM well, trust me, I've been on the board of a lot of companies that are SEM driven. It takes multiple 100,000 a year plus people to do this. You don't have the time or the money or the resources to hire those people, nor should you, because you're only going to use them for a couple of days a month. Well, that's where Trada comes in. They're a crowdsourced pay-per-click marketplace. I heard about this idea. You were with me, actually, when we were in Boulder.
Yeah.
And everybody in Boulder, oh, did you see Trada? Did you see Trada? They're crushing it. They're crushing it. They're growing. They don't have a rough room in their space. Blah, blah, blah. We meet Neil. Neil was on the program. I can't remember what episode, but Neil was great. And they have 1,000 paid search experts working in their system now, but they're all paid based on performance, and they're ranked based on performance. And if they don't hit their numbers, it's hit the bricks. Coffee is for closers. That's what it's about. Hit the bricks. I drove here in a Tesla. You drove here in a Hyundai. That's what it's about. Trada says if you perform as a search engine expert, a search engine SEM expert, the search experts will then stay in the system and they get ranked. So when you come in, they're going to give your work to the top people in the system. Man, they've really figured out this crowdsourcing thing. And in fact, I'm going to be at the Crowdsortium next week, which Neil from Trada put together at the Googleplex. And the producers of the show are getting 5 free tickets. So part of being a producer is anytime, you know how it is, everybody wants me to do keynotes. How many do I do a year?
1 or 2 now.
Yeah.
You're like
it's like 1 or 2 because I'm busy, got a kid. So I tell them as a condition, you have to give me 5 tickets that I then give to the TWiST producers on a first-come, first-served basis. So I got 5 free tickets for the producers for the Crowdsortium next week, where I'll be interviewing Luke Beatty of Associated Content in the Googleplex. This should be an interesting discussion, all brought to you by Crowdsortium, which Trada created. Hey, here's a new promo. From now until June 1st, if you sign up for Trada and spend a minimum of $3,000, your company is going to receive a free ad on This Week in Startups. Wait a second. You spend money with them and then I read your ad? Sounds like a good deal to me. So go ahead and go to Trada and remember to use the TWiST code when you sign up. Thank you, Trada. Thank you, Trada. Everybody thank @Trada on their Twitter accounts, because independent media like this would not exist without them. And as you know, Forbes says that this is the greatest television show, or I'm the greatest television host. Well, it's just Forbes saying it.
The future of TV?
The future of TV, the greatest talk show host ever, and you get a couple of mentions in there, and they say, hey, it feels like we're having the best time in the world on the show.
I don't think I got any mentions.
Well, Tyler didn't, but Lon got his beak wet, so what can you do?
I don't think Lon got mentioned in there either.
Oh, yes, Lon got a little mention.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'm Lon Harris. Oh, I love that guy. I'm going to go friend that guy.
Lon Harris will be here on Friday.
Okay.
For the news. He's always here on Fridays for the news. Okay, so Cyrus, we met.
Yes.
And we actually coached him on his presentation, but he frankly did not need a lot of coaching, because we heard the idea for ZocDoc, and it was like, oh my God, that makes total sense for doctors, for patients, for everybody in the system. This is one of those McKinsey guys, and he and co-founder Oliver, who's a doctor, put this company together, and they're crushing it, frankly. They're in New York, and I think they've moved to a couple of other cities. Cyrus, welcome to the program.
Hey, Jason, good to see you.
I don't know when the last time we saw each other in person, but I have this flashback of us in a what were we, in a conference room on a Saturday or Sunday at the Palace Hotel going over your presentation. Tell me what you remember about 4 years ago when we met.
Well, it was a great experience. You know, I remember back then, well, the coaching that you gave us was to make sure that we were entertaining to the audience. They didn't want to sit through 40 presentations of companies that were just doing demos of their website. So we did this whole theatrical,
the guy that tripped
theatrical skit of using ZocDoc, etc. And it was really probably the best venue to launch our company. So thanks so much. See you again.
So you guys did great. Obviously, you got a lot of funding for the company. Things have been going awesome. Just tell the audience who's not aware of the greatness that is ZocDoc what you guys do.
Sure. So ZocDoc is the easiest way for someone to find a doctor who accepts their insurance and to book an appointment instantly online. So you can book on the web, on your iPhone, and we have 30 different medical specialties that you can select from, and the cities, we're actually live in 7 cities now.
Wow. What are the 7 cities? Where did you start, and how have you rolled it out?
Yeah, so 7 cities: New York, DC, Chicago, Dallas, LA, Houston, San Francisco. And we started in New York. So back when we first met, back in the end of 2007, we started in a few pockets of New York City, just midtown and downtown Manhattan, with just dentists. And as I mentioned, we now have 30 different medical specialties online.
Okay. So let me walk people through the site here, and you can fill us in on it. But pull up my laptop if you don't mind, gentlemen. Here we go. ZocDoc, get well sooner, find a doctor, and make an appointment. Very beautiful looking website. I love how you put the Washington quote, social proof there. Cute angels signing and birds chirping. ZocDoc is a revelation. Wow, that is good, high praise. So I want to find a doctor. I'm looking for a dentist. I enter my zip code. You're in Los Angeles, did you say, or no?
We just launched in Los Angeles in January. So
I'm going to say who knows what's going to happen here. I'll say I'm paying for myself. And holy cow, here we go. I found a bunch of dentists now, and I see right here what appointments are available. I mean, when we heard this idea, we said, God forbid these guys ever get the actual inventory. This will be a game changer because, holy frack. I'm not going to put another $10 in the swear jar because right now we're at 30. And what does it take to buy a keg of Rolling Rock, that delicious, crisp Rolling Rock that I love? How much?
$80.
It's $80 for a keg of Rolling Rock?
Yes.
We're 30 of... Holy shit. Oops. Now we're halfway there. I did that on purpose. That's okay. We're halfway to a keg of Rolling Rock, which we'll drink on the air. And look at this. I'll tell you something that's interesting about this. I'm going down here, and I see, okay, here's a white guy, here's 2 white doctors. Another white doctor. I don't want to make this a race issue, but hey, I get to the guy who looks like he's Asian. He's working on Friday and Saturday. None of these other guys are working, or maybe they all have appointments. What have we learned about how many days a week do dentists work?
Generally speaking, most dentists will work 5-day weeks, but there are those that are working weekends, and patients, we find that patients love the doctors that are working the weekends and the late hours, and it's one of the greatest things about using the service.
Yeah, I mean, that is the first thing that came out to me. This guy, Tai Mao, DDS, in Temple City, he's working all day, Friday and Saturday. Nobody else is. It's very clear that these people are off. And so you have created transparency in this market that then allows the opportunities and gives, frankly, a little bit of control back to customers, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we have, when we first started with you in 2007, we had 5,000 available appointments. Now there's 4.1 million available appointments in our 7 cities. So there's a lot of choice for consumers to pick the doctors they need.
And when you are, I'm going to pull up a psychologist for Tyler here in Brentwood, California. No, 90401. So when you go to a doctor's office, what is the conversation like when you tell them put your appointments in here, typically?
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the last 4 years. So in the early days, we just launched in September 2007, and we had to launch at TechCrunch with enough doctors to make the site look real. And so literally I was going with a small PowerPoint page to these doctors' offices to ask them to sign up for online scheduling. And I got actually escorted out by security from 3 doctors' offices.
Really?
And, yeah.
See, that's a real entrepreneurship when you start pounding the pavement, knocking on doors. And the ones who did say yes, why did they say yes? And how did you convince them?
Yeah, it's, I think that to some extent, I just refuse to take no for an answer. Literally, the day before I got in the plane to come out to TechCrunch, I stayed in a doctor's office waiting room for 5 hours, waiting for the doctor to agree to see me. And I think he was just so impressed with our conviction and persistence, and he was willing to give it a shot. And that doctor has since grown his practice exponentially since using ZocDoc. He's added a bunch more dentists to his staff, and a significant number of their patients come from us today. So he loves us, we love him, and it's a different conversation today. There's a lot of social proof, there's a lot of empirical data that shows patients love booking a doctor this way. We've been growing very quickly, as you mentioned, and doctors have lots of friends that have had a lot of success in the site. So it's a very different situation now. All the concerns that people had initially about patient reluctance to book appointments online, they realize that those aren't real concerns at all, that everyone wants to book doctor's appointments on the internet, and the best doctors want to give that kind of convenience to their patients, and we've had a lot of success with that.
So you are open table for doctors, correct? Is that the best way to describe it?
Yeah, I think that we get compared to them all the time, and we think they're a great business. We think we're a fantastic business. And there's a lot of things we can do with what we've built.
How much does it cost you to get a doctor onto the system? Because there is a back end here, and how does the back end work? Do they have to manually have their administrators put in the things, or do they have scheduling systems on their side where they put them in? How does it, or do they just basically, like Open Table, turn over scheduling to your software?
That's a great question. So, different than Open Table, which has its own proprietary scheduling system, ZocDoc works with the existing systems that are already installed in doctors' offices. The interesting thing about that sector is there's 1,400 different scheduling systems that doctors' offices use. So a lot of what we've been doing for the last 3.5 years is we have a team full-time, all they're doing is building integrations to all these different systems. And the reality of the situation is that these systems are not designed to be integrated to very easily, so we're having to get into the weeds of these systems and to make sure that every appointment is flowing within seconds up to ZocDoc. And that's one of the really cool things about what we're offering, which is in a lot of circumstances, there are patients who are waiting 25 days. Across America, the average wait time to see a physician is 25 days. And what we've been able to do is access what we call the hidden supply. So there are literally 20% of the healthcare system is being wasted with appointments that patients can't access because patients cancel a lot on doctors in the last minute, and oftentimes these appointments are going completely unused. So by integrating to all these different systems, you know within a second if someone's canceled an appointment. So someone who wants to see the doctor same day or on the weekend can actually get into that appointment slot and see the doctor same day.
So that you create massive efficiency for them, and you get $5 for every person who books a visit. And I don't know if that is proprietary or not, but what is it? You make a couple of bucks per?
No, we actually, it's a flat subscription model. Doctors pay us $250 per month to access the service, and they can have an unlimited number of patients. The interesting thing about that model, and it's a little bit different than some other online scheduling models, is that we're completely aligned with the doctor's offices that we work with. So once they pay the fee, they're encouraged to get all of their existing patients to start using ZocDoc to book the appointments, and we have widgets on the doctor's existing websites where people can book with them. Those patients obviously learn about the service, and doctors help grow us from there.
So looking at the doctor profile page here, I pulled up this doctor here, this psychologist, Gary Bruton, that Tyler's going to go talk to now that he's the CEO of the wildly successful, Squeal. Do I have to put $5 in the swear jar for burping? I don't think so.
No.
So now that you're now going to have to go see a psychologist every week to deal with the fact that none of your employees are actually getting stuff done, and you're doing therapy with them, so it all goes uphill. So anyway, here's his Gary, who is Tyler's new psychologist, cognitive behavioral guy. You get a little bio. Practice performance badges, goes above and beyond for ZocDoc and you, scheduling hero. And he's also got speedy response, demonstrated lickety-split attitude. Talk to us about the game mechanics behind these badges, because I think that's kind of unique.
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that we found is that doctors' offices were constantly looking for ways to differentiate themselves on ZocDoc. And there are certain doctors, these are all, in essence, small businesses that, will do everything possible to squeeze patients in when they need to, or they make the Saturday available, appointment times available. They get back to patient inquiries much more quickly. And so though we've always had ratings on the site, and that's something that I think is very unique about what we do in terms of how we've implemented the ratings, one of the things that I think we've had a lot of success with is getting doctors to encourage certain behaviors, to be very responsive, et cetera, and they earn badges for that. And it's amazing. We're just now, touching the tip of the iceberg of gamification sort of industry-wide, and we've learned a lot from some very smart people about how to do it, and it's been successful for us.
How do you rank the doctors? You send a follow-up email, I guess, to people who have booked through it and say, rank your doctor?
Well, so to be clear, the ranking of the doctors on the website, in terms of the order in which they come in, that comes from based on what the patient's actually looking for. But the feedback specifically is coming from actual patients. So after a patient sees a doctor on the site, and only then will they receive a feedback email, and only patients that have actually booked an appointment through ZocDoc can leave feedback on their doctors. And so, there's we obviously, no system is perfect, but we believe it eliminates a certain amount of gaming on the part of the feedback system. And people love the reviews, and it's been pretty helpful in getting people to trust the site and getting to pick their specific doctor.
Hey, tech team, when he's talking and I'm showing stuff on my laptop that's related to what he's talking about, let's put it side by side in the window, because I love that view. So here I'm showing, and this could be a side by side of me and the product, or just the product, either one. Patient reviews for Hannah, and she's got people saying how great she is. Now you're saying in order for this review to get in here, you actually know that the person showed up for their appointments, correct?
Exactly.
This means there's no gaming of the system. You can't, I mean, there could be, I guess the doctor could send their brother or sister or cousin through the system to write the review, but at least you know that if somebody's slamming in here, they did actually go see the person. Unlike Yelp, which doesn't have that.
Yeah, so you're right. So the service is unique in that way, and our reviews are a big part of what's built the trust for our patient community.
Now, average wait time 3.5 here. She didn't do so good on the average wait time. What happens when this doctor calls you and says, this review is unfair and I was actually on time for this? How do you mediate that, or do you?
Yeah, so the only thing we do is we read the reviews for profanity or anything that's directly slanderous, and those are reviews that obviously can't go up. But everything else, it's not edited. The entire review, all the reviews go up as is. Doctors have the opportunity, if they want to, they could choose to completely drop the service, or they could choose to opt out of our feedback system. I think in the history of ZocDoc, maybe only 1 or 2 doctors have opted to opt out of the feedback. And I think the reviews are just a great part of keeping everybody transparent in terms of what's going on. And I think that in essence, they end up in greater patient care, which is what our company's all about. And so we've been pretty pleased with how they've played a huge part in our business.
And something that you all will be pleased with is iStock Photo, over 8 million royalty-free photos. This is a new sponsor for the show. Can we get a da-da-da-da-da-da? Every time we have a new photo, a new sponsor, we got to have like a cheer or something, or applause or something. Anyway,
hey, all right.
There we go. Thank you for that. Thank you. I mean, 2 of us are running a business here, right? Cyrus feels me here. This is the guy who waited 5 hours in a... But anyway, I've been waiting 5 years for iStock Photo to come here because I've been using iStock Photo since the Weblogs Inc. days. I've been a fan of this product and this service for a long, long time. In fact, they are on the approved sponsors list. Why are they on the approved sponsors list? Because we used iStock Photo in the opening of This Week in Startups. What you're seeing right now is iStock Photo clips. The reason we use iStock Photo? Because we're cheap. I don't want to use Getty and these expensive services or Corbis. I can't afford it.
I offered to fly out there and take those photos, but
you did offer to fly to New York. It would have cost me, $3,000, and I just said, "Hey, save money." And everybody's like, "Oh my God, we need to get photos. We need to get off. We need to do this." I know how to. Jason knows how to do things on it. I know this is what entrepreneurs need to do. Let me tell you my philosophy. You need to get $1 out of a nickel. Those are the great entrepreneurs. The big companies get a nickel out of $1 because they got so much money laying around, they can burn $100 to make $20 worth of heat. You got to make $100 worth of heat out of $20. That's what you got to do as an entrepreneur. iStock Photo is going to help you do that. Highest quality standards. They reject over half the images that are submitted to them. And these are images submitted from really good photographers. They curate it. Really high quality, 2 premium collections and a new collection for editorial use, affordable prices and flexible options for everyone from bloggers, which is how I started using it, to small businesses, which is how I'm currently using it, and ad agencies and designers. Hey, ad agencies, wake up. You do not need to spend $5,000 on an image anymore. Get it for $1, get it for $5, get it for $10. Be legit, pay the artists, and iStock Photo really revolutionized this space. I love them. And it's just a great company. You've used it before yourself.
Of course.
Of course. Tyler has used it.
If you're building a website, and half the key of building a good website
is images.
Is having good photos. I would say it's more than half.
Well, I mean, visual is how it works. So anyway, it's a great company. I love them.
The cool thing is they have far more than just like the standard really posy, like cute girl in the office on the phone kind of thing. They have, like, as you saw in the beginning of the intro.
Let me tell you something, too. Most people don't know this. But remember how I said, like, I couldn't afford Getty, so I got iStock Photo? Mm-hmm. Getty is smart. They realized that. They bought iStock Photo, but they didn't F it up.
They just let it do what
let it do. Listen, iStock Photo does what it does very well. Don't mess it up. Let it iStock Photo be iStock Photo. Mm-hmm. Let Getty be Getty. I can't afford the Getty train, but I can afford to get on the iStock Photo bus. Mm-hmm. Like some people.
Well, they have piece, like you can just get single photos and all kinds of stuff.
You don't need. Listen, it is a great service. You will love it. Go be legit. And when you're making mock-ups for your site, go ahead and try some of these images. They'll let you try them for free. As far as I remember, they just put a watermark on it. So when you're making stuff, boom, just do that.
That's probably one of the better kept secrets of product design.
Of course, if you want to make a gorgeous website, get some gorgeous imagery. iStock actually did a lot of the logos and a lot of the stuff we did at, people don't know this, at Weblogs Inc. Mm-hmm. We would take their stock images and we would manipulate them to make them look unique, and it was all good. Anyway, thank you to iStock Photo for being a new sponsor and supporting independent media like This Week in Startups. We're going to run some sort of contest with them next episode. So tell me, Cyrus, how many people are working at the company now? How much money have you raised in the 3 or 4 years you've been doing this now? 4 years, I guess.
Yeah, so we have about 120 employees at ZocDoc. I'd say half of those people we've hired in the last 6 to 7 months. The company raised $20 million to date. Most of that came last summer, and we've been doing fantastic.
I hear that you guys are busting out of the offices there.
Yeah.
What does it cost you to bring a doctor online? Is that a key metric for you? How much it costs to bring a doctor online, and how has that changed over time?
Yeah, we look at the amount of time it takes to bring a doctor online because obviously we put a lot of effort into getting in front of these doctors and they're really busy. And so in the early days, literally it was myself and my co-founder Oliver, who you mentioned is a physician. I would go and sign the doctor up and Oliver would go spend a day with the practice, training them how to use this and how to get everything to work correctly. Now we can do it anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour on the longest end. And so obviously the technology has gone a huge way in helping us scale up to be much more efficient. We've had a lot more experience with all different types of practices, different types of configurations. We've obviously made the product a lot easier to use, a lot faster. So all these things have contributed to it. We've gotten a lot smarter about what we need to do to onboard these practices.
So you didn't exactly answer the question, but it does take a day or two, I guess, to get them online.
No, an hour. Nowadays it takes an hour.
Just an hour on the sort of that, but you have to get them on the phone and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, so there's a little bit to that. So the onboarding might be an hour, but it might take a day or two to pursue them. Do you do that through like a local sales force? Are you like a Yelp in that regard, or an Open Table where you just have tons of people on the street, these $50,000, $75,000 salespeople, Glenn Ross knocking on doors?
Yeah, we have a fantastic sales team, and yes, as you articulate, I think we have people in every market that we've launched in, and they're going after and making sure that we go after and get the best doctors in those communities to join ZocDoc. We also have some inside sales people based in New York, but predominantly it's a field sales team that's distributed geographically.
Right now, the competition for salespeople is red hot with Groupon, Living Social, and stuff. How do you get them? Are you finding people from the old trade show and Trade Pub magazine and the Yellow Page business, or are you just finding people out of school and saying, hey, here's 40, 50 grand a year, we're going to train you?
A little bit of both. So we have some people out of school. We have some people coming from these different industries. Obviously, there's a lot of people who are experienced selling into healthcare, into physicians. So medical device, pharmaceutical companies. These are all different types of companies that you're absolutely correct, which is in the local world, people are red hot for salespeople, but in some of these other traditional healthcare sales jobs, there's a little bit of, it's not nearly as hot. In some cases, these sales forces are contracting. So we've really benefited a lot from that, and we found some really fantastic people who, most of whom have come from healthcare sales backgrounds in the past.
What's the lifetime customer value? I mean, I know you're early on, so you probably have majority of doctors have been in the system for under a year or two. Is there any? Do you have any idea of what the attrition rate will be? Has anybody left the system, for reasons other than their business went out of business?
No, the majority of doctors. What we find is obviously the reasons why doctors like to use us is they want to introduce this new channel for patients. They like filling their open appointment slots, etc. And what we find is that as we start growing, we become such a huge portion of these doctors' practices. We're by far their number one source of patients. And so they tend to be a pretty strong relationship. In terms of the economics of lifetime value, it's not something that we've spent a lot of time looking at. And what we do know is that the doctors seem to love us because they're telling their friends about us, and the number of inbound leads we get on a weekly basis is constantly growing. And so that's good, and we know that we make money on every doctor, and that's good. But beyond that, we haven't looked at it over a 10-year or indefinite period. I
mean, you're sort of in the position where your business is growing so quickly. With I don't know if you said how many doctors and dentists are in the system right now.
So the number that we look at, and that's the most important to us, is the number of available appointments we have.
Right.
So we have like 4.1 million available appointments. I think a few weeks ago we had like 3.whatever million appointments. So that is growing very, very quickly. And the reason why we look at that number is because the problem we're trying to solve is obviously to improve accessibility of healthcare to everyone. And so it's not just enough to get a doctor on our site. We need to get a big block of appointments from them so that patients like myself, who was looking for a doctor, which was, of course, the nexus for this idea, can find a doctor when they need it. So we have about, give or take, 4.1 million appointments available right now.
How far out do doctors book themselves? Is there any limit, or is it only a month out, only 2 months out?
So the doctors set that themselves. Some doctors only want to look over the next couple of weeks. Other doctors are happy to go forward for a full 6 months, and that's all configurable on the doctor's side.
Huh. So with 3 or 4 million in there, that means you have tens of thousands of doctors, I would guess, paying $250 a month. I mean, does this mean this business is making $50 million a year right now?
So we don't comment on how the company is doing financially. Right. We're really pleased with the growth, and we're growing really, really fast, but we don't talk publicly about our financials.
Well, okay, so you don't, but I mean, if we're talking about $250 and you have $10,000 a month, I believe that's $2.5 million a month. That's 30. I mean, I know you don't want to talk about it, but you're making at least $30 million a year of a business with 100 people working at it. This is an extraordinary business with a tremendous margin. Do you have competition yet?
No, we've really been fortunate. The company has been growing so fast, and we've entered these markets so fast that there have been some companies that have tried to do what we're doing and have failed. But in essence, there's not any formidable competitor that we're facing right now.
Executive producer Greg Berry, this is one of our executive producers, Cyrus. He asked, "How did you build the sales team exactly? Did you in the early days, especially?"
Yeah, well, as I mentioned, the first sales guy was me, and like literally for the first 6 to 9 months of the company, I signed up every doctor myself. I got kicked out of those practices, as I mentioned. The one thing I'm probably the most proud of is that every doctor's office that kicked me out of their office now uses ZocDoc and is a really happy client of ours.
Awesome.
Yeah, so,
Do you actually remember? Do you email them and like, hey, I got you? Do you look back in your Gmail and say, ha ha?
Yeah, yes, you remember those harrowing moments. There's nothing more humbling than, I was a strategy consultant at McKinsey consulting with CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, going to door-to-door, sales in these dentist offices where the receptionist was having me escorted out with security. So you remember those experiences, and they're very humbling. And those are it makes building a great company that much greater. And I don't think the doctors remember, and we don't sort of remind them of that, etc. They're like, wow, I wish I would have heard of this earlier.
Yeah.
And the comment, that I want to say is, well, guess what? You did, and you guys threw me out. But ultimately, I think, we just want to get every doctor in America to be able for online booking to make it so much simpler for patients everywhere. There's so much efficiency to be had, as you mentioned, in healthcare.
Being a founder who went out and did sales means your sales team can't BS you. I mean, that is part of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we actually have done all sorts of testing of different personalities, etc. And most of the sales team is actually pretty similar to myself, and they've done well.
Awesome. Hey, executive producer Jeff Clapp asks, did you design the site in-house or did you outsource it? What's your philosophy on that? Has it changed over the 4 years?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, so we do everything in-house. One of the things that's been really important to us as we've scaled the company is we've had to learn a lot. And we spent literally the first 2 years of this company's life just in New York learning. And we had everyone initially in one room, then in 2 rooms. And we've done everything we can to keep the company on one floor here in Manhattan. So every functional area that can be located centrally is. And we stay really close to the product. You mentioned my co-founder, Oliver, whom you met, of course, when we launched. We have a third co-founder, Nick, who's our CTO, and his team sits right outside my cube here in the office. So we stay really close to product. And I know there's different thoughts of how to build startup companies, but for us, getting this product right was really important, and staying close to the engineering team was really important. So I don't think, for us, the way we run the company, we may not have been successful if we outsourced.
Producer Cam Collins has a question. He wants to know about this Forbes Boost Your Business video where you made 100 G's making a video. But I'm going to have you answer that after I tell you about my favorite web service, which is MailChimp. This morning I sent out a pretty brilliant newsletter that I wrote, I will have to say, about Microsoft buying Skype, which is the most brilliant thing Skype has done. Most brilliant thing that Microsoft has done. And all these stupid Microsoft shareholders are complaining about it. And I'm just like, well, how stupid are these Microsoft shareholders that, I mean, I guess if you stayed in Microsoft shares for the last 10 years when it went from 25 to 25, you're not the brightest person. But then Microsoft actually does something visionary, like buy a company with 600 members that are signed up and they have their email
600 million. Yeah.
600 million customers for only 8.5 billion when they tried to buy these other companies for 20 billion with less.
Anyway, MailChimp, go ahead.
But anyway, my point is, this is important stuff that I'm trying to communicate to the 20,000 people who are my closest friends, my insiders. I trust it to MailChimp. And I today I went back to my old roots where I just sent a text email. I was like, enough with the HTML. I just want to try text again. Because I feel like text lets people, you could sort of strip it down and let people get to the essence of the words, what I'm trying to communicate. Sure. And MailChimp allows you to do that. and it allows you to do HTML. It allows you to track the clicks. It allows you to track the open rates. Nothing ever winds up in a spam folder. I did get one person who got in the spam folder. You know what I do? I CC somebody from MailChimp, and you know what they do? Problem solved. They care about my customers because my customers are their customers. MailChimp is the greatest product on the internet. I love it. I use it every week. And their plan is free for up to 2,000 subscribers and 12,000 emails per month. That means you can do a bunch of your emails for free because they're so confident that they're going to build your email business. Like Squeal, you probably have a couple of thousand emails right now, I'm going to guess. Hundreds or thousands?
A few thousand.
And at some point, when because you're being you're slow rolling the power of Squeal, you're going to release to the wild some email messages, and you'll do it through something wonderful like MailChimp, where you only pay as you go. And
I was thinking of just CCing all 3,000.
CC all 3,000, try to send it through Gmail. I did that for the first 400, and then Gmail turns you off, by the way. It does work until you get 300.
You can set up multiple email accounts.
No, yeah, I know, exactly. And then you could shoot yourself in the foot. You can stab yourself in the hand with a fork. Don't do that. Get MailChimp. And they're integrated with Amazon's new SES, Simple Email Service, which gives you the ability to handle transactional emails, which are critical. You need those transactional emails to get through. Like, hey, you've booked this appointment on, this service, ZocDoc. Are you sure? Confirm here. Or you signed up for Squeal, or you're signing up for Mahalo. Click here to approve your thing. Oh, your password changed, all that stuff. We use MailChimp to send the launch newsletter, as I explained. And you should go sign up at launch.is/newsletter and sign up for MailChimp and have your life get better. And everybody's talking about, because I was at Facebook on Wednesday, I tweeted out, so I'm at Facebook, I'm in a meeting. I can't talk about all the things I'm talking about in meetings, but I'm trying to understand these pages, because I spent 4 Gs building up, it's a whole different conversation, but I spent $4,000 building up 20,000 followers, or actually 12,000 followers, 33 cents a follower, on Mahalo Guitar. It's a great page. Yeah. It seems like a cheap price, but how do I get value out of that? You know what? If I actually had that many people on email and was emailing them on a regular basis, email is more effective than a Facebook fan page. And everybody's out there, Facebook fan pages, Facebook fan pages. You know what? Email. Old school. If you have email, that's much more important than getting somebody to hit the like button. Everybody's obsessed with the like button. You need to be obsessed with owning an email address. That's much more important. That's lock-in for life. People don't. When's the last time you changed your email? Jason at Calacanis. I think I might have that email address for a little while. Anyway, I love you, MailChimp. And I just want to tell you, everybody out there who's doing social media, you have to think basic. Are you collecting emails every day on your website? If you're not, every day that goes by, you're losing 1 to 1,000 email addresses that you could be building a relationship with. These people, they want your money. A man does not come on the lot lest he want to buy. Get the email address. MailChimp. All right, so right about now, Cyrus is going, I think Jason was crazy, but I think I got to buy some ads on. Right about now, Cyrus, you're thinking, how much does an ad cost on This Week in Startups, aren't you?
Oh, man, it's good.
That's what I do. I sell. But I only sell products I love and use. So if I'm going to do ZocDoc, I got to book through ZocDoc. That's the key thing. Tyler just booked a psychiatric thing. But you had a question.
Well, your selling point is interesting. And I love that Cyrus went door to door initially and did
Yes!
It made me think that when you're starting your own company.
Yes.
And it reminded me of being a movie critic with cataracts, essentially. We got a new producer.
We got a new TriCaster, obviously. TriCaster operator. So wait a second. Hold on. A movie critic with cataracts.
Right.
So you're saying you're criticizing the movie, but in fact, you're only seeing part of it.
Right. If you're a CEO who hasn't gone out and done some of the sales.
Right.
You're essentially a little, you're
seeing the world through a filter.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. The filter being cataracts.
Yes.
Okay, hey, listen, it's a movie critic wearing blinders. No, because blinders will make you focus on the movie more.
Cataract.
It's cataracts. It's a movie critic with cataracts.
Right.
They're seeing some of the movie, some things. I agree 100%. And sales is the truth. And Mark Cuban told me something very early on. Sales solves everything. I got 2 salespeople here at Mahalo. I'm trying to get to 6. I got Mo 3000 here at this weekend, and he's great. Jason, really, stock photo, I'm a little nervous because I don't know, I want them to re-sign, and it's a great company, but they're part of Getty. Is there any way you can do that commercial with extra oomph, because you are the Michael Jordan of podcasting? They said it in Forbes. I'm like, Mo, calm down. Calm down. Mo 3000, calm down. I got this. This is what I do. Boom, 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 boom. Whoop, up. That's what I do when it comes to that stuff. Because I use iStock Photo, I don't have to worry about it. But yes, sales is the truth.
Right.
If you go out there and you eat your own dog food.
You can get snow jobbed by your sales guys if you,
of course,
if you don't know what's going on.
Of course. I mean, you know what? And I have felt that way. Not by Mo 3000, though, I will tell you that. So what is the ZocDoc Forbes Boost Your Business video thing, Cyrus? What was that about?
So, there's a couple of really fortunate things that happened over the company's life. I think getting to launch on stage with you guys at TC40 was awesome. What happened about a year later is that we got nominated for this award through Forbes.com, where they're trying to pick their top small business in America, and it was very much.
ZocDoc is a website that's concept is.
All right, here it is. I'm pulling it up.
ZocDoc is a website that's concept is so simple. If you're sick, have a cavity, or even just a pimple, simply point your mouse at ZocDoc, and the best part is it's free. Find a doctor, book an appointment, and do so instantly. Search by your location and your insurance too. If Forbes gives us 100K, here's what we'll do. We'll build a customer service team across the USA. Appointments will be made online from New York to LA. So cast your vote for ZocDoc, the company in rhyme. We'll give you easier access to healthcare in no time.
I love it. And look, you put yourself out there, you do something silly, you cast a blind guy as your number 2. That was brilliant. I like that. No, was that your partner? Oh, we got to turn his mic back up.
Yeah.
I don't know who's working this. We're losing the technical ability in the control room. Answer again. Was that your partner? Yes.
Oh yes, that was Oliver. You met in
yes.
2007.
And so you do a little Bob Dylan homage and 100 G's in the bank account, not from venture capitalists. That's always good. What's the hardest part of the business today?
Finding great people. As we're trying to scale this business and take it everywhere in the country. One of the things that we have just done, I think it's very much to our investors' credit. They've always encouraged us to keep the bar high, and it's all about great people. And the reality of it is that we need people to grow this business, and we want to be in every city in America, and we just need to make sure that we keep maintaining our culture. One of the things we're probably the most proud by, it was a few months ago we were named the best place to work in New York City by Crain's. And how do you grow your company by a factor of 10 and maintain that same strong culture, high bar? And so I spent a lot of time thinking about that and working.
Well, how do you answer that question? How do you when you got 100 people and you're adding 10 a month or 20 a month? How do you maintain culture? How do you do it?
You have to overinvest in recruiting. So one of the things I view my title is CEO, but I might as well be called Chief Recruiting Officer. I spend a lot of time interviewing. Literally half of my day is spent interviewing people. Also, a lot of our resources, so if you look at the company's headcount, 120 people, probably 10% of those people are full-time recruiters in-house, and we want to grow the team. And so, I think that it's lessons learned from other great companies that have scaled so well that you need to overinvest in recruiting if you want to get the best of the best, and that's what we're going to do.
Another question, you're preempting the questions here, but you said over and over in the pre-interview, my producer Kieran and Carolyn tell me that you guys are hyper-focused. How important is focus to the business, and what exactly are the marching orders to the troops? How do you communicate focus?
Yeah, so I have this belief that if you have really talented people and you have focus and you have time, and assuming the market's there, you're going to figure it out. And I think to some extent that's been the recipe for success at ZocDoc. So early on when we met with folks, I remember actually the cocktail party after the TechCrunch conference, I met with a couple of really well-known investors, and the advice they gave us is like, look, you've got a really great idea in a local business, but stay focused, make sure that you perfect this in one market rather, before you expand beyond. And we really took that to heart. We spent 2 years just in New York perfecting it. As I mentioned earlier, there's 1,400 different technical systems we have to worry about integrating to many of them. And how do you get all this to work? How do you get all these small businesses to sort of operate in an efficient manner? How do you get these doctors onboarded? So we've only, at different points in the company's life, we've obviously expanded the problem we're trying to solve. So it's not just dentistry in New York. It then becomes all doctors in New York. Then it becomes all doctors in a couple of cities, now 7 cities. Now we're going for the whole country. And so I think to some extent, healthcare is such a huge opportunity. It's the largest sector of U.S. economy, and there's a lot of things that are great about it, but yet there's so many things that need to be fixed. And it's so easily to get distracted and pulled in all these different directions. As you get a big client, maybe they want you to do more. And quite frankly, that's not our business. And sometimes you get lured by large amounts of money, and you have to have the discipline to say, no, like, we're going to continue down the path. And it's not just about optimizing dollars today. It's about literally building out and fulfilling the vision of what ZocDoc is, which is to enable everyone to book appointments online. And, I think that there's always on a daily basis something, some sort of, as you get bigger, there's all sorts of interesting ideas, and you want to encourage those ideas. That's the best thing about having great people, is they come up with all these great things. At the same time, you have to balance that with saying, okay, well, these are the ones we're going to do. This is the reason why. These are the things we just don't have the resources for, and you need to be very, very focused. And I say, you don't want to be jack of all trades, king of nothing. You just want to focus and really dominate your industry.
Elastic pricing and the problem with healthcare in this country. Let's rise above the sort of ZocDoc discussion. We got that covered. Let's talk about healthcare in general. It's a disaster in this country. Obamacare and this sort of battle that's going on. It feels like we've picked exactly the wrong compromise. We should either be doing fully, what do they call it when the whole government pays for everything, like in Canada?
Socialism.
Socialism? No, but what do they call that, Cyrus, when the government pays for the whole thing?
Yeah, it's a socialist healthcare, or the public option, as you
Public
described.
option. Like, we should have gone either all public option or the government should stay out of it. Right now, it feels like we picked the wrong thing. Now, I know that's not your concern, but price of, you could, because you are getting to scale and you have, some percentage of, I don't know what percentage of the doctors in each market you have are, but it's definitely double digit, and I believe it will become at least half at some point in some cities. If you get to that, just like open tables, half or 2/3 of the tables, you'll get there. Will there be a way to do elastic pricing so that a doctor who's got these 3 appointments can say, these are half price if you're paying cash, and we can get more access and more fairness in payments? Are you even thinking that way?
So that's a very interesting thought. It's something that has been raised to us in the past. I know there are companies specifically that are just trying to crack this nut. We specifically haven't been oriented towards that. There's a company called Castlight Health, which has raised quite a bit of money itself, and they're focusing largely on the pricing questions within healthcare. For us, to the earlier point about focus, we've just been really trying to make ZocDoc work everywhere. But I do believe that what you're talking about has some merit to it, and it's something that could really perhaps help people in this country get access to care.
Are you in fact testing this model and not telling me?
No.
Are you sure? Because I'm a poker player. I can tell if you're lying.
No, we're.
You've mocked it up, haven't you? You mocked it.
We need to be in more markets in the United States. And,
no, I mean if you're making.
I say mahalo to you in Honolulu.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to get distracted by other side businesses. And again, that's the beauty of healthcare. You're articulating one of so many different opportunities in so many different directions for where ZocDoc can go. People propose to us all the time, well, I'm going to see a doctor there. Why can't I actually consult with my doctor over the internet? Well, that's another great idea. Or why can't, we're doing all sorts of interesting things and capturing information on patients, preventative care. We're just starting to scratch the surface there.
Well, if you already have my appointment in there and there's a notes field, why can't my test results be in the notes field? I mean, have you guys thought about expanding this into medical records?
Yeah, I mean, again, another great avenue for us to get into. To some extent, ZocDoc to date has, a very light record of who you've gone and why you've gone to the doctor, and patients like that. But there are a lot of really, medical records is one of the hottest areas right now, where there's so much competition, so many businesses getting into it. And quite frankly, I'd rather orient my company around an area where there's nothing, and complete white space where there needs to be a solution. And there's not a lot of government dollars or private companies that are going after it. And that's why we've taken the strategy that we have.
What happens when your system gets hacked and Tyler's psychology appointments that are 3 times a week become public?
Yeah, I mean, something we take very, very seriously. We have, our team is our CTO, my co-founder Nick, came from the financial services industry. So, we very much built our site like Fort Knox. We're very cautious of the fact that things. There are people who want to do evil things with information, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that will never happen at ZocDoc.
Cyrus, you did a great job on the program. You were very honest, and I am more impressed with the business today than I was when you first brought me the idea. It's amazing to see you guys grow. I'm so proud of you guys and the good work you're doing. I mean, this is important work, and I do think these guys are going to figure out some ways, not just to make the doctors more efficient, but I think once you get that nice foundational, piece here, and you start to get to really significant market share, you can do wonderful things like this elastic pricing or patient records. And this is one of the great entrepreneurial stories. This company is worth $500 million right now. It's going to be worth multiple $1 billion. And it all started because two guys were willing to wait in the lobby of a doctor for 5 hours. It's called resiliency, people. It's called perseverance. If you don't have it, then you should work at the post office. If you do have it, you should start a company. Thank you, Cyrus, for being on the program.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate it.
And everybody go sign up for ZocDoc. Go ahead and like it on Facebook. Share it with your Facebook wall. And you guys, of course, have Twitter, ZocDoc, right?
Absolutely.
So everybody say thank you.
I think we're doing this before Twitter was anything.
I know, so they got it, right? Actually, that's true. And if somebody wanted to come work for you or be part of the team, they would just email Cyrus at ZocDoc. I'm taking a wild guess here.
Jobs at ZocDoc will actually get them into what we're calling the ZocDoc Star Search. So we've been running this program for the last month where we give people, if you refer someone who ends up working at ZocDoc, we'll give you a free iPad 2 and make a $1,000 charity donation to the charity of your choice.
I got an idea for you. You want to go work at ZocDoc? Send him an iPad and say, I want to come work for you. Here's an iPad. That's what I would do because I'm gangster and crazy. Anyway, great job on the program. The business is doing tremendous. I mean, you have recollections of meeting them and saying, I mean, you guys could have won, but I mean,
one of the best presentations. The guy that came out and fell down, and he's like, "Is there a doctor in the house?"
But also think about it.
You'll never forget it. Yeah, it was great.
You were up against Mint to win, and Mint was a $300 million exit. I'm going to go on record right now saying this will double Mint's exit. I'm going on record right now saying that this will double the Mint exit to Intuit for $300 or $400 million, whatever it is. And you know what? That means something. Thank you at Trotta. Thank you at Trotta. Thank you at iStock Photo. I'm assuming they're at iStock Photo, but thank you iStock Photo for joining the collective good and building great programming. This is not possible to do this. I mean, it's getting expensive to do this program. There's 2 full-time analysts on it. We have 2 full-time technicians. We've got Tyler and all his demands. And then Lon coming in on Fridays, he wants the green M&Ms taken out of his... I mean, what sane person says, I want peanut M&Ms in my trailer, but no green ones? I literally have to have somebody pulling green M&Ms out of packs of... You give them an inch, and this one all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm at Lon's. I've got this many followers. I host This Week in YouTube. Lon's got all kinds of demands, but hey, he's good at what he does. So thank you at MailChimp as well for helping me keep in touch with my 20,000 plus subscribers. Thank you at MailChimp. Thank you at iStock Photo. Thank you at Trotta. Thank you at Steep Decline. Thank you ZocDoc. Thank you Will. Thank you Kieran. Thank you Carolyn. Thank you iPad 2, and we'll see everybody next time on This Week in Startups.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.